Hundreds of thousands of people are reported missing every year. Most are eventually located, but a small percentage of those cases defy logic. They are the people who step into the world one morning and simply never return. When someone vanishes without a trace, we reflexively search for a reason. We look for a shift in behavior or a specific event in the days prior, anything that might explain why a life that was there one moment was gone the next. The cases of Terrence Woods, Jody Huisentroot, and Branson Perry each offer a different perspective on that window of time before a disappearance. One involved a documented internal struggle, another was preceded by a visible, growing threat, and the third didn't reveal its true context until years later. Looking closely at these final hours reveals why some mysteries remain impenetrable. Often the very details left behind serve only to complicate the search, leaving families to grapple with questions that have no definitive answers. In October 2018, 26-year-old Terrence Woods was working as a production assistant on a television shoot near an abandoned gold mine in central Idaho. He was a standout student with a master's degree, known by his peers as driven and professional. During the shoot, his behavior became increasingly erratic. He told his crew he needed to return home early for a family medical emergency that didn't exist. And on the morning of October 5th, he reportedly suffered an anxiety attack so severe that coworkers had to restrain him. Late that afternoon, as the crew finished filming, Terrence suddenly dropped his radio and ran. Without a word or any indication of where he was going, he sprinted down a steep mountain slope and into the wilderness. This chart maps the severe terrain. Witnesses say Terrence moved with impossible speed through dense brush on a slope so steep coworkers couldn't keep pace. Dogs tracked his scent to the road at the base of the mountain, where the trail inexplicably ended. The aftermath created a divide that still exists today. The production company maintains that Terrence suffered a mental health crisis, while his father remains convinced of foul play, citing a toxic work environment and his son's lack of any prior history with anxiety. When the only indicators of a coming tragedy are internal, the investigation often stalls. Detectives are left to speculate on a person's state of mind, turning the search for a body into a debate over a narrative. Jody Huisentroot was a morning anchor for a station in Mason City, Iowa, with a routine that was public and highly predictable. She was expected at the studio by 3 a.m., but on the morning of June 27, 1995, her desk remained empty. Months before she vanished, Jody reported being followed by a man in a white pickup truck. She was receiving harassing phone calls at the station, and the situation grew serious enough that she bought pepper spray and began taking self-defense classes. Her disappearance occurred within a window of just a few minutes. She spoke to a producer at 4 a.m., apologized for being late, and said she was headed to her car. When she didn't arrive for the 6 a.m. broadcast, police were called to her apartment complex. This diagram illustrates the struggle found in the parking lot. Police recovered a single red shoe, a can of hairspray, and a blow dryer scattered near her car, along with heavy drag marks indicating she had been taken by force. Forensics recovered a bent car key and a partial palm print from the vehicle. Despite the high stakes and involvement of the FBI, these physical leads never produced a match. The investigation was massive, involving hundreds of interviews across multiple states. Neighbors reported a white van idling in the lot that morning, but with no security cameras and no license plate number, the lead led nowhere. This case proves that even when a threat is recognized and prepared for, the moment of a disappearance can still be an impenetrable wall. Physical evidence is only as useful as the person it can be linked to. In April 2001, Branson Perry was at his home in rural Missouri. It was a mundane afternoon. He was cleaning the house with a friend, preparing for his father to return home from the hospital. At 3 p.m., Branson stepped out the door to put a pair of jumper cables in a shed. It was a task that should have taken seconds. He never returned to the house, and he was never seen again. The timeline is defined by details that surfaced only after the trail went cold. Police searched the shed immediately and found nothing, yet 2 weeks later, jumper cables inexplicably appeared inside. Around the same time, his friend admitted to using methamphetamines that afternoon. Years later, a disturbing possibility emerged with the arrest of Jack Wayne Rogers, a man convicted of performing illegal surgeries. In online posts, Rogers detailed the torture and murder of a young man, whose description closely matched Branson's. The overlap became even more unsettling when a search of Roger's home revealed a turtle claw necklace identical to one Branson was known to wear. Branson's case highlights the terror of a hidden context. A life can be interrupted by a threat operating out of sight, leaving those left behind with no way to see the danger coming. Whether the indicators were internal, physical, or hidden from view, the result is the same. A person is removed from the world, leaving a void that refuses to be filled. These cases extract a heavy toll on law enforcement. Investigators spend decades following tips that lead to empty excavations and searches of terrain that has long since hidden any evidence. For the families, the search never truly ends. Branson Perry's mother, Rebecca Klenow, spent the rest of her life looking for answers. Before she passed away, she purchased a burial plot for herself and an adjoining one for her son, hoping he would one day be brought home. Details left in the wake of a disappearance don't prevent the tragedy. They remain only as fragments of a reality that no longer exists, forced upon the people left behind to examine for the rest of their lives.